Wow, what a great audience we've got today. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Pete Crane, and I'm privileged to be the Vice President of Education and Access here at the National World War II Museum. And it's my pleasure to welcome you to today's ceremony for 6 Congressional Gold Medal to be awarded to Chinese American veterans of World War II. I'd like to say that this ceremony is held in partnership with the Chinese American World War II Veterans Recognition Project, and it's a wonderful relationship. As we begin today's program, please rise for the Victory Bells performance of the National Anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming? And the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you. Please be seated. As we begin, it's my honor to continue our tradition here at the National World War II Museum of recognizing World War II veterans, home front workers, and Holocaust survivors in the audience. You know, if you are at a number of our ceremonies, you'll realize or you'll know what a treat it is to have even one World War II veteran with us. So today we have 6 World War II veterans with us today. So a statement I always enjoy saying: if you are a World War II veteran, Holocaust survivor, or a home front worker, please stand or wave to be recognized. Please wave. Also, do we have any other veterans in the audience today from any era? If you ever wore our nation's uniform, please stand or wave to be recognized. There are some other special people in the audience that I'd like to recognize today as we begin our ceremony. First, I'd like to thank our Patriots Circle and Charter members, as well as our education and capital donors. Their generosity makes our programming possible here at the World War II Museum, so please join me in a round of applause for them. I'd also like to thank the Gary Sinise Foundation for generously providing the travel for each of our veterans today. We have a long-standing, wonderful relationship with the Gary Sinise Foundation, and I'd like to thank Gary and the whole team there. We also have a Department of the Army civilian and a number of general officers who have joined us today for the ceremony. We have Mr. Kenneth Wong, civilian aide to the Secretary of the Army for Eastern Pennsylvania, Major General William Chen, United States Army retired, Major General Clarence K.K. Chin, U.S. Army retired, Major General Stephen Tom, United States Army retired, Major General Ted Wong, United States Army retired, Rear Admiral Alma Laugraki, U.S. Navy retired, and Brigadier General Edwin Skip Vincent, U.S. Air Force retired. Thank you for joining us today. As I said earlier, if you ask any member of the staff or volunteer here at the museum, and they'll tell you what a joy it is to have us welcome even a single World War II veteran on our campus. Well, today we have the privilege of welcoming 6 Chinese-American World War II veterans. They, along with their comrades, answered the call and served in every branch of our military when our nation needed them most. These individuals faced immense discrimination in the midst of our nation's conflict, and yet still stepped up to support the war effort. Even when approximately 40% of these veterans were denied citizenship themselves. As many as 20,000 Chinese Americans served in the United States military forces in World War II. Included in this group are Medal of Honor recipients, women service members, including 2 women Air Force service pilots, or WASPs, recipients of the Distinguished Service Cross, and the first Chinese American officer commissioned in the United States Marine Corps. The Congressional Gold Medal, which is the highest civilian award bestowed by Congress, honors those whose dedication, heroism, and public service have created a lasting impact on our nation's history. On December 20th, 2018, Chinese American World War II Veteran Congressional Gold Medal Act was signed into public law. Since being enacted, it's recognized veterans whose honorable service played a critical role in the war effort during World War II. The medal itself is a moving depiction and pays homage to the service on land, sea, and air, and included a tribute to a female veteran, which is unique on the Congressional Gold Medals. Unfortunately, none of the female recipients of the Congressional Gold Medal were able to make the trip here today. However, we remember and salute them each and every day at the National World War II Museum. Because of the pandemic and the timing of the Congressional Gold Medal's unveiling, the Chinese American veterans of World War II were honored in an online ceremony instead of the traditional ceremony at the United States Capitol. Well, today we're honored to stand in for the U.S. Capitol, and these Chinese American veterans here at the ceremony will receive what is long overdue. Gentlemen, congratulations on your well-deserved Congressional Gold Medal. Thank you for letting us be a part of it here at the National World War II Museum and for recognizing and letting us help recognize you today. This event is a culmination of the long-standing partnership between the museum and the Chinese American community. We're honored to say that many of these individuals and families have stepped up to be donors, patrons of our collections, and veterans who have given their oral histories, but most of all, they've been enthusiastic partners in our mission to tell the story of the American experience in World War II. Thank you, Ed Gore, and everyone at the Chinese American Veteran Project. And now I'd like to welcome General William Chen from the Chinese American World War II Veteran Recognition Project to the stage. Bill will share more about the tradition of service from Chinese Americans and their legacy.
I'd like to highlight the service and the legacy of our Chinese American World War II veterans. Pre-World War II, most Chinese and Chinese Americans in America lived and worked somewhat isolated among themselves in the Chinatowns across the country and some in rural areas. But World War II was a turning point. It was their opportunity to know the rest of the world and the world environment. Chinese Americans predominantly served integrated in the U.S. Armed Forces. They served in every theater of war, in every branch of the services. And for most of them, it was their first opportunity to work and live and fight side by side with other Americans. They engaged in the full spectrum of combat and support operations. In the ground war, they were in the infantry, armor, and artillery. In air operations, they were pilots, they were navigators, bombardiers, air crew, and ground crew. And in the Navy, they served on destroyers, cruisers, aircraft carriers, and even submarines. Appropriately for the Congressional Gold Medal design, in the front, we have images of Chinese Americans in each of the armed services. And we have, as mentioned, an Army nurse to represent women who served in World War II in the various armed services. And inscribed on the front is the inscription, "Proudly served as Americans." The reverse side has the platforms the Chinese Americans served on, land, air, and sea. The Sherman tank, such as in the rear of our auditorium. The P-40 aircraft, where Chinese Americans were pilots as well as repairmen for the P-40 Tomahawk, made famous by the Flying Tigers. And we have the battleship USS Missouri to commemorate the end of World War II and the signing of the peace treaty with the Japanese. Please keep in mind that at the time of their service, there was still the discriminatory aspects of the 1882 Chinese Exclusion Act, not repealed until December of 1943. The legacy of Chinese Americans in World War II were they defended the freedom that we so much enjoy. They demonstrated their skills, competencies, loyalty, and patriotism. They served with pride, and they proudly served as Americans, and they paved the way for future generations to serve in the U.S. Armed Forces. However, in my opinion, the most enduring legacy of our Chinese American World War II veterans is that they made known to the American public who Chinese Americans were and their skills and competencies. And post-World War II, they provided opportunities for all Chinese and Asian Americans to be in mainstream America. And through their hard work and diligence, they enabled the follow-on generations to live the American dream. And post-World War II, veterans distinguished themselves and achieved firsts for Americans of Chinese origin. Senator Hiram Fong from Hawaii, the first U.S. Senator of Chinese origin. Thomas Tang, the first appointed by the federal judiciary. Gordon Chung Hong, the first to be a rear admiral in the United States Navy, and during World War II, he commanded a destroyer and he was awarded the Navy Cross and Silver Star. Dewey K.K. Low, the first general officer of Chinese origin in the United States Air Force. And during World War II, he was a first lieutenant and flew 312 combat missions. We must forever honor and pay tribute to our World War II veterans. And I would like to take the opportunity to thank the National World War II Museum for hosting this ceremony, particularly in honor for our veterans who are here today, veterans of World War II. We must forever remember, honor, and preserve the legacy that you established. At this time, I'd like to bring up Ed Gore, Executive Director of the Chinese American World War II Veterans Recognition Project. He's led the project since day one through advocacy in Congress, passing the bill, and then holding national ceremonies and regional ceremonies in honor of veterans. Ed?
Thank you, General Chen. Usually I open for him. Today he opens for me, so that's why I can keep this speech very short, because when I have to introduce Bill, it takes me a long time to get that resume out. Thank you, Bill. And by the way, you don't have to limp to be up here to speak, so that's not a requirement, right, for us to do. With the Congressional Gold Medal was made possible by the grassroots efforts of the Chinese American Citizens Alliance and the World War II Recognition Project. This national campaign to identify, honor, and recognize the efforts and accomplishments of Chinese Americans who served in the United States Armed Forces in World War II also launched the efforts to educate the public about what they've done. Many people don't recognize at all that there are other ethnicities, especially Chinese, because we're such a small percentage of the population that actually went out and served. So Bill, I just want to thank you for leaving me a little bit to talk about anyway, so we're going to go from there. I think our grassroots effort to educate the public is very interesting and also very needed if we're going to speak about the medal that you're going to receive today. And as he's already said, both the front and the back, obverse and reverse of the medal, speak a lot about what they have done. It's the whole story written in this package, this medal that you're going to receive. But to educate the public is interesting because when these young men and women went to serve in the war at the age of 18, all of you who are descendants of a World War II veteran today have that same blood coursing through your vein. That's your DNA now. You can't give it up. You can't do anything about it. It is yours, and you own it. And I want to just say that what made these young men and women do this? Well, what you have today is what they have. It was their faith to one day become Americans that overcame the fear that they had going to war. Their hope to better themselves in America overcame the hurt that they experienced. Their determination to demonstrate that they belonged defeated discrimination. And their patriotism to prove their loyalty prevailed over the prejudice that they experienced. Those traits cover all blood types and the DNA that you have in your veins today. I can tell you that any of you who are World War II veterans know that when you pass that along to your descendants, you are proud, and they should be proud, to have this medal in their home. I just want to say thank you to Chairman Watson and all the things that he has done, his staff have done. And I also wanted to let you know that for all the stories that we have here in this, and I'd call it hallowed ground, that they have here, you are part of that story, that even the stories at the USS Arizona, the World War II Memorial, events in Pearl Harbor, those stories in Arlington, those are the stories that we all know about, but within this museum, the walls, the pavers, the bricks, you'll see those same stories, and we want to be part of that, if we may, and certainly will. Thank you. Well, I'd like now to begin the moment that I think most of us have been waiting for, presentation of medals to our veterans. I'd like to ask Chairman Watson, and where is Bill? You're right there. There you are. Come on up here. Ask you guys to come up here. Our first honoree, William Shi-Yen Ching, Army Air Corps. Born in Honolulu, Hawaii, Mr. Ching experienced the firsthand bombing of Pearl Harbor. Inspired by the unforgettable event, he joined the Army Air Corps and served with the 319th Engineer Service Battalion. Mr. Ching now lives in Sacramento, California with his wife after raising 3 daughters. Please welcome William Shi-Yen Ching to the front of the stage. Congratulations. Our next honoree is Wei Hu Tong, United States Army. Mr. Tong was born in the province of Guangdong, China, in the village of Toisan, and at age 13, traveled alone to Seattle, eventually settling in Queens, New York, and raising his family in Yonkers. Drafted into the Army in 1945, he trained in Fort Knox in Kentucky. Mr. Tong served a vital role in Germany as a radio operator transmitting frontline messages via Morse code to the headquarters. Mr. Tong is very thankful to come to America, serve his country, and fulfill his dreams. As a restaurant owner of 2 successful restaurants in Westchester County, Mr. Tong believed in the Chinese Inclusion Act. He had all his 4 children work in the restaurant. And the grandchildren too, probably. He and his wife, Sipan, where they now live in Tampa, Florida. Please congratulate and welcome Wei Hu Tong to the front. Our next honoree, Mr. Donald T.S. Lee, Merchant Marines. Mr. Lee received his appointment in 1944 to the United States Merchant Marine Cadet Corps and was assigned to the SS Texarkana and the MV John Erickson for tour of duty in the Pacific, Mediterranean, and Atlantic war zones, where he served as a Merchant Marine for 6 years. After graduating from Kings Point Academy, U.S. Merchant Marine Academy with a Chief Engineering Steam and Motor Vessel license, he served in the United States Coast Guard and in the Korean War. Subsequently, he was an engineering instructor for basic training centers and retired after 40 years as commander in the United States Coast Guard. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Donald T.S. Lee. Dang, that guy looks good. Our next honoree is Mr. Harry G. Jung, United States Army. Mr. Jung was born and raised in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and enlisted at age 17 in the United States Army, where he served as an infantry rifleman and messenger. One of the Timberwolves, if you know who they are. He was in the 414th Regiment, 104th Infantry Division, and he was an infantry rifleman and messenger. Wounded during a night assault near Eschweiler, Germany by a grenade, he was awarded the Purple Heart, Bronze Star Medal, American and European Rhineland Campaign Medals, and most recently, the French Legion of Honor Medal. Please welcome Harry Jung. Thank you very much. Mr. Jung, you deserve the red lipstick on your forehead too, I think. Our next honoree is Wing-Fook Joseph Lee, Army Air Corps. Born in Canton, China, and immigrated to the United States in his teens, Mr. Lee completed military training at Stockfield, Illinois, and was deployed to Kunming, China, to serve in the 14th Air Force. As a radio operator mechanic on a 4-man crew, Mr. Lee flew regular combat cargo missions over the hump from 1943 to the end of the war, attaining the rank of sergeant. For his service, Mr. Lee received the Distinguished Flying Cross with 2 oak leaf clusters, a Bronze Star with 2 oak leaf clusters, and numerous other medals that validate his remarkable patriotism. Please join me in congratulating and thanking Mr. Joseph Lee. Our final honoree is Arthur T.S. Shack, Army Air Corps. Mr. Shack also personally witnessed the start of World War II when Pearl Harbor was attacked in 1941, and also the end of World War II when the Enola Gay took off from the Mariana Islands from Hiroshima, August 6, 1945. As a navigator, he completed 51 bombing missions in European theater. That deserves an applause, let me tell you. And bonded with crew members who became lifelong friends. Mr. Shack has received the Air Medal with Oak Leaf Clusters, the Distinguished Flying Cross, and most recently, the French Legion of Honor Medal. Yeah, sure. Using the GI Bill to obtain his master's in civil engineering from Purdue, he returned to Hawaii to become a productive, tax-paying citizen, raising his family and bombing golf balls at his favorite golf courses. Please congratulate Mr. Arthur Shack. And I'd like to ask our Congressional Gold Medal recipient, Arthur Shack, Bill Chin, Stephen Watson on the floor for a special presentation. And Art, you can say a few words too.
Microphone? Oh. Maybe you don't need one.
There you go.
Aloha, everybody. I'm very honored and humbled to be selected to do this expression of gratitude to the people who were very instrumental in forming the National World War II Museum project. I thank the United States Congress, and I thank President Trump for signing a bill to recognize the work and determination of the Chinese American Citizens Alliance members. This honor came true. And on behalf of the soaring Vapor Friends, we are so grateful to the Gary Sinise Foundation for the wonderful opportunity to visit the National World War II Museum here in New Orleans. And of course, mahalo to the National World War II Museum President, Stephen Watson, Colonel Cream. And before I announce the rest of the names, they're all preceded by the last MS. And I have a daughter, she's very smart, but she asked me, hey, is that MS for Master Sergeant? Are all these friends of the museum Master Sergeants? I had to tell her, no, they're not Master Sergeants. It's just for MS, which is MS, the following: MS Hartley, MS Sadler, MS Andrews, MS Chapper, and MS Daly. And they don't represent Master Sergeant. They have too many Master Sergeants then. They all represent them being, not knowing whether they are Mrs. or Miss, we just call them Miss. So that represents Miss instead of Master Sergeant. Okay, that's all I was asked to say. And again, thank you for all those who participated.
And this is
Oh.
to present to Mr.
All right,
This is the museum.
okay. By the way, this is my daughter, Eloise.
Dad, this is to give to the museum, so let's give it. Okay, good. So you two. You
Told by
hand
my
it.
daughter to give this to the museum. Here it is, museum.
Thank you, sir. Okay.
Well, how do you follow Arthur? Arthur, thank you. Ed, Bill, thank you for this Congressional Gold Medal. It is going to be an important and special part of the permanent collections here at the National World War II Museum. And I just want to say what an honor it has been to be a part of this very special day to recognize these 6 men and their contributions to our country. I want to thank you for not only your service, but your perseverance, your belief in this country and what we stand for, and the wonderful lives that you've lived for the last 80 years. And it is a privilege to have been a part of this special day, recognizing all that you have accomplished. And Ed, you said on the stage that you want these stories to be a part of our museum. And I know we do too. And I know we have interviewed 2 of these men already, and we will make sure that the other 4 are interviewed and that your oral histories and your personal reflections also become a permanent part of the collection here at the National World War II Museum. And I want to, before I turn it over to my colleague, Colonel Crane, to close out the program, I just want to say thank you to everybody that came here today. I've been at this museum for almost 22 years, and we've had many wonderful occasions, and this is certainly one of the best, and the response and the turnout is just remarkable. So thank you to all of you who came to honor these men here today as well. And since this day seems to be dominated by the Army, I'm going to turn it over to Colonel Crane to close us out. So thank you.
All I can say to that is, hooah. Thanks to each and every one of the veterans recognized in today's program for your service, to your dedication to our nation, and for winning World War II. Our nation will be forever grateful for your contributions to the war effort and to our victory. I'd also like to again thank the Gary Sinise Foundation for sponsoring the travel of our veterans today. Again, a wonderful relationship and wonderful friendship with Gary and the entire foundation. And finally, thanks to every one of you who joined us here in person today and online for this commemoration. As Stephen said, it's truly special to be able to do this, and you made it special as well. So, take care. Thank you for attending today, and we'll see you again here next time at the National World War II Museum.